And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for yet another live episode of Conversations with Michael. We are simulcasting today's live stream from our new home studio just outside Corvallis, Oregon. And you're welcome to watch today's live stream on our website, our YouTube channel, or any of our 3 Facebook pages. If you're new to our work, we offer a variety of programs and services that have all been designed to serve any awakened human being. We prefer working with small groups and as well offer one-on-one private sessions with Michael to develop a more intimate relationship with those that we are working with, a little more direct. And all this is in service to what we've all chosen to do, to have an embodied human soul relationship, to make that relationship tangible and physical. Why would we choose that? Well, we'll get to that today, shall we? So before we turn this over to Michael for this month's message, let's just take a quick look here at some of the upcoming events we have coming up here. And let's begin with the monthly Master Circle. And you know, I love these group sessions. They allow each of us to act as supports to each other. I'm always amazed at the depth of compassion and honesty so many of us have developed in these, well, they tend to be very free-flowing sessions. I act as a host, as a facilitator, but pretty much step back unless I'm asked to participate in it and let all of you who choose to participate in the group sessions to benefit from hearing your own voice, feeling your own wisdom. So you're welcome to join us in the Master Circle by becoming a monthly subscriber to the Masters Unplugged subscription program. Following that, Friday on November 8th, we'll be presenting a special live workshop titled Sensuality, Enlightenment, and You. These workshops are actually open to anyone, so you can sign up anytime. Class size is limited, so we recommend signing up sooner than later. You can do that just by checking out our live workshop page on our website. And last but not least, we also have another monthly group session on our private Masters Unplugged Facebook group. These live 2-hour sessions are presented on the 3rd Wednesday of every month, and the recording of each session remains on this Facebook page for up to 1 month before it's transferred over to our video library in the Masters Unplugged program on our website. Very good. So let's take a collective deep breath as I, Robert, allow, as I always do here, openly share the conscious relationship I have allowed and share with all of you, with Michael, my beloved partner, to allow him to share his wisdom with all of us. And another breath. As we allow Michael's radiance to touch our lives in whatever way honors and supports where you are at this very moment. Very good. Very good. Indeed. Greetings, dear ones. It is I, Michael, and in service to all of you calling yourselves the awakened human being. That works. That works. Those who have chosen to take advantage of a very unique opportunity. One that allows all of you to experience a type of freedom and support that's actually quite rare for any human being. Which is, well, kind of strange, is it not? Kind of strange, because what it is actually real. And we'll go into that here today as we'd like to title today's message, Inside, Outside. Very good. As it invites us to go a little deeper as it relates to you being a conscious creator of your own experience. Oh, we know a lot of people give lip service to that term, but let's be honest. Words are cheap, are they not? Most of you will never be recognized during this lifetime for the gift that you're actually sharing. But as we've said many times before, if the awakened human isn't on this planet at this time, then neither is your human family. Without your presence, without your light, the highest potential for the family of humanity, this collective consciousness that has separated itself from the real you, well, it wasn't very good. You know all the predictions, all the potential scenarios of a lot of destruction. All of that was real, if not for you. And so once again, I, Michael, and others like myself must bow before each and every one of you for having the courage to not only endure living alongside such a fear-based state of consciousness, but to also embrace your joy while experiencing that as being priceless, irreplaceable. Indeed. You see, so many of you, through all of what we have been presenting through Robert over the last, well, almost 30 years now, you're now really allowing that joy to remain at the front of your life. Why? Because it serves you first. It serves you. It took a while for you to feel comfortable being that selfish, divinely selfish, and allowing this joy to just serve you as the sovereign creator that you have become. Let's take a breath with that. Very good. So here you are, living inside this very dense physical reality. But many of you have noticed as well, the density has shifted, has it not? No longer is it so dense that you just can't wait to leave. You've changed all that. Literally, you've changed that. You no longer are in any what you call a 3D reality. You now exist in what many refer to as being a fifth dimensional experience. And as you heard, those of you who have been following our messages, we've invited you not to become so enamored with the fifth dimensional experience when all dimensions are available to you. We're working on that. You're allowing that. Within this physical reality, though, the collective experience for some can actually be very inspiring, incredibly fulfilling, and for others, incredibly boring. It's as if your human family has grown content watching the same old movie over and over again, repeating the same agendas, the same actors, playing the same roles. And for the most part, that's been limited, these roles that most of humanity plays, to but two. You get to choose to play the victim or the oppressor, lifetime after lifetime. Now, we can't promise you that that will actually change long term, but we can promise that because of all the work all of you are doing, Your human family will always have the opportunity to free themselves from these, well, what should we call them? Worn out patterns of behavior. And for that, we thank you, even if the rest of humanity doesn't even recognize the gift that you are offering your human family just by being here. So going forward, you're going to experience firsthand the impact your own radiance literally will have on the rest of humanity. Now, you've already experienced the impact your radiance, your light has had on your own life. And what did it do? Well, it turned your life upside down. It shifted everything. It changed your perception of what was real and what is not. But in the end, it's also allowed you to be you. It's allowed you to be comfortable just being you. And now you've discovered that the potency of your light doesn't just exist in the etheric realms. It has seeded itself into your own body. And that's caused, well, yes, some changes, some rather dramatic changes. But as well, it seeded itself into the very ground that you walk upon, into this earth. In a way, it is you representing now collectively the second coming of Christ consciousness, in the same way that you helped to seed the potentials when our beloved Yeshua walked this planet with you as a human being. Now he's handed literally the baton to you as the new representatives, the new standards, the new teachers, the new human beings who represent the realness of life. So as the intensity of these times continue to increase, and they will, did they not in your own individual experience? And now that occurs collectively. It had to start with you, and then it becomes a collective reality, a collective experience. But because now you're going to witness collectively what you've experienced individually, it is very, very important for all of you to be the observer, to act as the witness, to celebrate your life daily, no matter what you might perceive all around you. Our work with you now has shifted a bit from how to serve you becoming awakened, and now that you are awakened, how to own it, how to integrate it, to now as one who has integrated so much of what you wanted to allow yourself to feel, to own, to experience. Now, how do we take that experience? How do we take what you've become and live alongside this collective consciousness, your human family, that is just beginning to awaken? You see, so many of you have chosen to experience something that is incredibly rare. As we speak, many of you have literally transcended what we call the reactionary version of you. Oh, we know you haven't perfected it, and you never will if you're asking your human part to try to become the non-reactionary version of you. That would be pretty abusive. That would, indeed. But the human part can allow the part of you that is already the non-reactionary version of you to live with you, alongside you, coexisting together in this human body. The byproduct of such a profound choice has opened your heart to so many new potentials. Ones that, well, very few knew or even know now exist. You see, you offer undeniable, tangible evidence that the living Christ is real. Well, maybe you don't like our terminology as it relates to your past, but own this. We don't care what you call it, but own the rarity and the magnificence of what you have allowed here. Because the very nature of living inside of a dualistic system of reality has, in a way, helped to define who you are. And that can be very frustrating if you're not able to accept the role that opposites play within the very nature of that reality. One moment, you feel high as a kite. The next, your feet feel like you're wearing concrete boots. One moment, you're able to embrace your neighbor with all of your heart. And the next, you're reminded of the history you have with your neighbor or other people. And that history tends to trigger a sense of distrust, resentment, doubt. So let's take a moment here just to breathe, to make that conscious breath be at the front of your life. And just notice something as simple as your in-breath. And let yourself feel the quality of breathing life. The in-breath. So many of you have come so far to notice that there is no outside of you, and there's no inside of you. There's but you breathing in what? Well, from your mind, of course, you're breathing in oxygen from outside of you. And from your mind, as you developed a deeper sense of being awakened, you were breathing in life, believing that there's some kind of force of energy that you're breathing in outside of you, perhaps out there in the stars, out there from another galaxy. But if there is no in or out, what are you breathing? Are you just breathing you? Indeed. And how does that feel? To breathe you in deeper and deeper and deeper. Very good. Very good. Now let's shift our awareness to the out-breath. Oh, the beautiful out-breath. What's happening there? Is the out-breath really just a tangible physical representation of you sharing you? You're breathing you, and now you're sharing you. The out-breath. Is your radiance. Now, as it relates to the human body and the human experience, one comes after the other. The mind loves that part where it's like a line, a linear example, where first you breathe in, then you breathe out. You breathe in, then you breathe out. But when you transcend the limitations that you've inherited as a human being, what happens to the in and out? Indeed. Indeed. It's as if you are just supporting by breathing you in and sharing your radiance, your own creation. As what? Just as the human? Well, that would be, again, pretty abusive to ask the human to understand that there is no in or out. It's just you. So the human has to step back and allow that part of you that already knows it is all about being inside your own life, inside your own creations, inside your own experience. Because what you perceive with these physical eyes as being out there is not real in relationship to how your own soul perceives reality. What's out there is also in here. In this human experience, and inside of this dualistic reality, both the in-breath and out-breath create such a beautiful dance, or an interplay between what is being received, your light, and what is being shared, your own radiance of that light. And where you start to feel like you're getting stuck is when you try to deny either one of those. You could say, in so many ways, this is the very reason all of you are here at this time. What do you notice when you look at your human family? In relationship to the in-breath and out-breath, it appears to us that they're very stuck on just the out-breath. And no one has taught them to allow the opposite of the out-breath in this dualistic reality, the in-breath, to support what they're sharing. By being just hypnotized by the out-breath, they deny themselves the unconditional support that's available to all of you. And because that's being denied, where have they been getting their energy from? It has to come from something outside of them. If everything is going out, then what is out there, they cling to, grab onto, extract from, consume, and bring it back in. Always from the out-breath. One of the first experiences that gave birth to this dualistic system was based on your initial response to existing what you perceive to be as being outside the kingdom, what many of you call your original home, your first home. Eons have passed since that time. Now, here on earth, you, all of you, had the freedom to create any experience you wanted. And what is at the forefront of the choices of any of those experiences? For most of you, reconnecting to home. To most of you, home, any semblance of home, was a primary creation, a primary need. In order to what? To feel safe. To feel safe. Creating then your own version of a support base around you, and now giving that a label, calling it a family. And this helped in its own way to create that sense of safety, knowing that you had around you a family, an extension of support, a collective support. Because the original home base most certainly was a collection of support. That collection was set free as individuated aspects of each part that created that collection of support. The collection of being, the collection of being aware. So within this incredible human experience, this incredible adventure, along the way there's been a few who had the courage to step outside of this collective story. We have the honor of serving here on earth some of the most independent creators within all of creation. That would be you. But to free yourself, dear ones, from feeling stuck or feeling trapped inside this human story, it has required of each of you to make some really bold choices. It wasn't enough for any of you to just transcend this collective reality, only to ascend from the limitations that, for the most part, have helped to define this human experience. You knew, we knew, because you said it to us so many times, that this would be your last time as a human being. This would be it. No, you're not going to accept the graceful transition into whatever you want to call this being fully awakened by gracefully moving through that experience through a number of other lifetimes. It was pedal to the metal. Do it all in this one lifetime, and let's see who survives. Let's see who's left standing. Because in a way, you were just done with it. You were just done with it. And at the same time, it was this lifetime that would have the most impact on the collective experience. Living alongside a transition that's happening on this planet that is coinciding with the speed of which all of you are allowing yourself to be real, you are also living alongside the mind creating extensions of itself, improved versions of itself by using technology from the outside to represent what it knows inside. Let's take a breath there. So indeed, you were willing to do anything to ensure that this story that keeps repeating itself would finally come to an end. And so you let go of so many relationships and so many experiences that have tied you to a very unfulfilling or unresolved past. And how did you do that? How did you let that go? How did you let go of all these people that are in your life that you've played different parts with, but for the most part, it is a collective movie that you got entangled with, stuck to, repeated over and over and over again, but never quite realizing or discovering your own freedom. You did something really bold. You started to forgive yourself for whatever role you might have played in relationship with everybody else that you could continue to play with. And that was huge. To let go of personal relationships, to let go of your relationship to the family of humanity, so that you could serve your personal relationships in a new way, so that you could serve the family of humanity in a way that they would actually notice and feel. Even though that might have been hard on your pride, to forgive yourself. It actually freed yourself from all the guilt that you've been carrying lifetime after lifetime. More importantly, it in turn freed you from what? It freed you from your relationship you've had with karma. Karma was created by humanity. Take a deep breath, my friends. Because your freedom just gets better and better and better. It takes a lot of courage to accept all the different parts you've played on the stage of your own creations. Oh, it'd be so much easier just to accept the parts that you're proud of, but to actually accept all the parts of you had to begin with you accepting you, just the way you are, your own unique story. And that was huge. In this whole experience with opposites of yourself, it appears to most of humanity that it is the opposites that are the problem. Not their relationship to the very nature of a dualistic system of reality, not their reaction to the reality that they helped to create. They simply got stuck in a polarized version of duality. And then that polarized version became the standard, became the norm, became what you all eventually called real. One that had all of you denying yourself the free-flowing support that has always been here. So our relationship with all of you, particularly in the last, let's say, 5-6 years, has shifted big time. We haven't shifted, you have shifted. You not only chose to acknowledge the problem, that took a lot right there, but you started to take responsibility for shifting your relationship to it. And then you began to do something that's so unique, that's so rare. You started to accept the opposite of what you were only wanting to feel. You didn't have to love it, but you also no longer needed to fear it. And this, dear ones, was self-love in action, in motion. And this helped to release this polarized version of this dualistic reality inside of you. And from that, what happened? You then started to allow yourself to feel the opposite of the human version of you, your own soul, your own eternal self, one who perceives the sovereign nature of spirit within their own creation. And this is where we find so many of you as we speak. Collectively, more than we have ever witnessed before on this planet, ever. And for those of you that feel a little uncertain as to whether or not this might include you, where you're wondering if perhaps you missed the boat, you didn't miss anything. You didn't. There's a certain timing involved between you and your own soul and eternal self. Trust that. Trust it. It will unfold in the way that it is best for you. Take a breath there. Take a breath there. So what is the big question for so many of you? Well, as we hear your thoughts, the question would be collectively, well, once we do allow, where do we go from here? Once we allow this presence to be present, where do we go from here? Which comes from us then with another question. How many lifetimes have you allowed your ego-driven wants, needs, and desires to choose for you? Honest answer, quite a few. Quite a few. How would it now feel to allow the passion of your soul to now be at the front of your life? Does this not feel very different from all those ego-driven desires that rely on extracting or consuming life to support itself, its identity? You see, the passion of your soul has a very, very different relationship to creation. That passion actually ignites the energy within you to be in service to you. It's not based on craving anything, longing for something, or yearning for something. For your soul, there is no void inside of it that needs to be filled. There is but the joy of adding yet another experience to a ever-growing library of experiences. This, the human experience being but one of them. It's actually quite beautiful. And what could be more new than to experience, perhaps for the first time, playing inside a dualistic reality without feeling stuck? Ah. And so it's our desire to play with you in the next stage of your adventures here on earth. Yes, we get it. There's numerous possibilities that might occur that don't have, well, a happy ending connected to them. So be it. But then there's also you as spirit incarnate with your name on it. And because of that, it ensures that a choice to honor life will always reside within the very fabric of this planet. That doesn't ensure that this human family will actually make that choice. And you must let that go. You must. Nobody is twisting anybody's arm here. It does ensure that life will continue so that humanity has the opportunity to make that choice or not. Life continues. Where do we go from here? Well, from our perspective, after all you've been through, it's time to take a deep breath and just allow your own light to do what? From our perspective, to have its way with you. That means to literally support you. Are you ready for that, dear ones? Because the mind will need to know, now what? Well, you're doing is the out-breath. It's meant to be a radiance. Time to shine your light. But that doesn't make much sense if you've become a little passive about being a conscious creator. It's not a judgment. It's an observation. It's an acknowledgement, is it not? We're not suggesting that you do more. Absolutely not. We're suggesting that you choose to live your life consciously. Conscious living represents a very proactive way of living. Let's try that. A conscious in-breath. That should leave you feeling a deep sense of gratitude, a sense of joy, a sense of wonder, a sense of contentment, because you recognize that such a breath, such a state of consciousness now provides you with all the support you could ever imagine. We know that for many of you, you haven't quite allowed that to be real. Can we just be honest about that? You've become hypnotized by the opposite of abundance, lack. Despite all the classes, all the books, all the meditations that were all intended to help you experience a more abundant life, some of you have yet to truly experience the joy from being fully supported 24/7 by the presence of your own soul. So, the first step was take a breath and just acknowledge it without the shame, without the guilt, without the judgment. And of course, that also implies you're willing to take responsibility for changing this. The acknowledgement. Some of you have embraced the whole concept of not doing as a way to help resolve this issue. And what do we say about that? Well, very good. We love that approach. It represents one of the many tools that we also love to share to help shift the mind from believing that it is responsible for your life. Because the art of not doing places your human personality and all those ego-driven wants, needs, and desires in the back seat for you to observe who's been pretending to be you. It's like an open invitation for the presence of your soul to be now at the front of your life. It allows you to literally feel how your own light is here to do what? To support you. Not like a parent, but like it's kind of really you. Because it is. So going forward, we are encouraging you to now reclaim your own voice. That's what we're doing. Your own truth. Throughout your day, we're inviting you to make a conscious choice to allow this presence to now also speak on behalf of you. Why? Well, if you've been paying attention, it actually is the real you. So as a proactive creator, you can get unstuck anytime you want, no matter your circumstances. As well, you can also choose to stop channeling for your mind, to start speaking for the wisdom that already exists within you. The mind, with all of its concerns, and your soul, with its inherent wisdom, now can coexist inside of this dualistic reality. It's not one or the other. Can you, in this moment, accept that a small part of you perceives that there isn't enough support in your life? Let those parts of you truly feel your complete and total acceptance for how they are conditioned to experience life. And then notice how that begins to move a tremendous amount of energy that resides both within the body and just outside of it. That's been acting as, well, as a type of filter, as a type of block, as a type of fence, as a kind of a wall protecting you. That's the word it would use, from all the energy that is here to serve you. Denying you the free-flowing support that wants more than anything to just support you. Where is this free flowing energy coming from? It comes from you. Not the human part, but the non-physical version of you. It's the real you, loving that part of you that is struggling with being the physical you. This is where your support resides. So if you're currently without a job, wondering how you're going to support yourself, our response to that, congratulations! Go get yourself a champagne and celebrate. What a beautiful creation. Now you have the entire day to allow the real you and its light and presence to now serve the human version of you. If you don't go passive, if you don't shut down, because you can deny the presence of your soul and continue to rely on all these underlying emotions that support themselves from feeling a lack of support. Indeed. Going forward, my friends, the days of being the passive creator and calling yourself a creator are over. It just doesn't work. There actually is no outside or inside. It's all you. It's all your own reality, your own creation. We get it. This is not for everyone to take ownership of this beautiful gift, but this is the gift that you are here to share with the rest of humanity as a fully awakened human being. It's your light. It's always been about your light. It brings us so much joy to continue to serve the new creators on this planet. We've never witnessed what we're witnessing here. It touches our heart in ways that you cannot imagine. You cannot. We see, even though perhaps you don't see it, the blessing, the energetic blessing you are offering to all of life here on earth simply by being here. Acknowledge that. Accept it. We're already looking forward to our next gathering in just 3 days here in the Master's Circle. Until that, dear ones, indeed, all of our